So today I'm going to be going into an in-depth analysis on US30 and a few other pairs. I'm going to be going deep into my analysis, and it's not going to be as simple as I usually do it. It's going to be more advanced for those that want to actually trade and know how exactly I trade and the way I fully mark up my charts. Most of the time when I'm marking up my charts, I try to simplify it as simple as possible for those that don't really understand the analysis. But in this video, I'm going to be going in depth, and I'm going to explain everything I do as always, but it's just going to be a deeper analysis. So let's get right into it. So as always, we start off on the higher time frame on the daily, and we mark up the previous day high and low. As you can see, I already have that marked up, and while we're already on the daily time frame, I'm going to mark up my fib, and the fib that I'm going to be drawing is going to be from this high on the daily to this low down here. The low I'm going to draw the fib to is going to be 33,000, because as you can see, if you look at this down wick, it got very close. If you look at the low at the top left corner, the low is 33. It's basically off by 35 points. So I'm just going to draw it to here at this whole number level. So we're basically trading with the banks, because if you understand that, you understand that on other liquidity brokers and all that, that price more than likely did touch 33,000. So let's draw that fib from this top, from this high to this low right down here, and we have these to mark up where it is. So as you can see right now, where price is currently at, it's in this fib range as of right now. And if you overall look at what price is doing, it's overall in this downtrend, because if you look right here, this was the low that was broken before we had a break of structure. So we're going to mark that up, break of structure. So this is a true downtrend. If this is a true downtrend, we want to see price travel up to an order block and a fib to then retrace to possibly come lower. It might not happen, because as you know, US30 has been very bullish, and we are respecting these lows. We made another lower high, so this could just be an overall on the weekly time frame, because if you look at this, it looks like it's almost going to be a bullish engulfing. So likelihood price will continue to keep pushing up. But I think after this bull run that we've had throughout this whole week, this whole up leg, I think we will be able to get a downwards momentum, at least to retrace to 34,000, and I think we could capitalize off of those gains this week. So now that we have this daily fib, let's look at the order blocks that are also in this level. So an order block that I'm keeping in the back of my mind is this one right here. Let's pull this all the way over. This order block, draw it from the open, not the open, the high, the close and the open. And I'm going to also draw this to the bottom. And as you guys know, I like to draw my 50% of these order blocks, because it gives you a better area that you could get entries at. So let's draw the 50% of this order block right there. Now we can take the fib off. So now we have this order block, and we have the 50% of it drawn, and we also have it in confluence with the 79% that is very close. So this is going to be an area that we are looking for a rejection of some sort, in an area with key value. So we know that there is also a 34,500 level, and it's also an uptrend, so we can expect price to break this daily high, to keep pushing up, to then possibly get a reversal of some sort. It's not going to be a full reversal, but I'm expecting 34,000 at least, or possibly 34,200. So that's that. Let's mark up this level so we know what levels to be looking for, and we're going to do that with this. So 34,616 is our beginning of the order block, and the 50% of it is 34,696. So these are two areas that we will be looking for retracements at. So now that we have that, I didn't mean to do that. So while we're still on this daily time frame, we also want to keep in mind this order block down here, because if this does keep this uptrend, we could likely retrace lower or retrace to this order block right here. But in this case, this is the main order block. This is the biggest one. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to grab our fib from the top to the low, and we're going to mark up the 50% of it. Just like that. We can take the fib off now. Take the fib off. And now we're going to mark up these levels. So we have right here 33,500. We're just going to round it right there. And the top of order block is 33,820, which is also at this 33,800. So these are both at two main levels, and they're also at the 50% and the beginning of this daily order block. So now that we have these daily markups, let's move on to the 4 hour. So overall, we know we're in this very bullish uptrend. Now we want to look for areas. Now that we have an area that we want to see price reject, we also know that if you look to the left where this daily order block is, there's also a 4 hour order block right here. There's also a 4 hour order block in this level right here. So these are two confirmations right now. We're going to mark up to 50% of this. I'm going to take the full order block off, just because the 50% marks up right here at the beginning of that daily order block. So that's multiple confirmations we have right now. We have this 4 hour, 50% of the 4 hour order block, 50% of the 4 hour. I'm going to do 54 hour because you understand what that means. We could take the fib off. So now we have multiple confirmations in this area right now for this level. So right here, I'm going to put the I because this is an area that we're going to be looking for rejection at, because we have multiple confirmations here in this overall downtrend. So we will likely get retracement, because if you look at this whole leg, it's just been pushing. We haven't really had much of a retracement. So I'm just waiting for that possible retracement to keep this uptrend, or we can get this retracement to then keep going lower. So now that we have that marked up, we know that there's a 4 hour order block here. We know that there's daily order block here, and there's also a fib level. So now we want to look for areas that we could possibly target where price is likely to fall. And the way we're going to do that is by looking at imbalances. So an imbalance that we can start on the bottom, we have imbalances down here. But if we're looking at imbalances that also are in confluence and with other confirmations, right here at the middle of this daily order block and at this 33,500 level, we have an imbalance starting from right here and then right here. So these are two confirmations, multiple confirmations in this level, so that we could target price. We're going to mark this up as an imbalance so we understand what it is, so we don't have a bunch of random lines. So we have an imbalance here, and we also have one right here. Also, these are all imbalances that price will likely eventually come in to try and fill. Might not be this week, might not happen, but these are all areas that we want to keep in the back of our mind so we understand what's happening overall. So now we know we have imbalances in this area. We have two main levels, 33,800, 33,500. We also have, we could take this 38% off. We don't really need that. That's a continuation level, so it's not necessary right now. So we have a lot of confluences in this area. So this is also an area that we would like to watch out for. Get that off. Watch out for it in this area also. So now we have two areas that we are looking for major trades in, because if price trades down here, the likelihood of price coming down and then rejecting will be very likely. So now that we have all these little areas marked up, let's look at the daily range, because we're day traders, and what's most important is what's happening within the daily range, and that daily range is in between the daily high and the daily low. So we know overall is very bullish, and we're anticipating price to keep going higher. So what I would do, I'm going to pull my fib from the bottom of this to this high up here. And now we're gonna take off the 50%. We're gonna make this our normal fib levels. And now we know that price, these fib levels are in almost confluence with this 4 hour fib. This is not 4 hour fib, 4 hour order block right here. And we do the same thing with all our order blocks. We're gonna put the 50%, because these are all areas that just give us a better stop loss and better area that we could then get into trades, because we'll have a lower stop loss, meaning our risk to reward would be way better. So we can mark up this 33. Let's move this over. 34,350 is in confluence with this daily 4 hour order block and the 79% of this fib level. So now we have two confirmations in this area that we will be looking for. I'm gonna pull this fib over a little bit more. This order block. So now we know where we want to see price. So we know price could likely fall to this 38%, which is a continuation level, before then traveling higher to then get to these areas up here. Or price could then have a deeper retracement to these fib levels and order block, which is higher confluence, to then keep pushing up. And then from these levels up here, we'll be watching to see price retrace. And why is because we have all these other confirmations in this downtrend overall. But another thing you want to keep in the back of your mind is that there's equal highs up here. And when you have equal highs, that means the liquidity is above there. So eventually I do want to see price take these highs out. It could be after we retrace to this 34,350 or retrace lower to 33,800 or possibly lower to 33,500. It might not be this week, or we could just see it happen fast and then we could start trading above all these levels overall, make new highs, because the highest high we have so far, if you look in the top left, is 35,102. That's the highest, the all-time high for US30. So this is basically my analysis for US30 as of right now. I'm expecting price to have a retracement to begin the week to then take off higher to see higher prices during the end of the week. I honestly don't think we will break past 33,800 or 33,500 because overall, if you look on the higher time frames weekly, this daily candle is going to be basically just a overall bullish engulfing, which means this is just going to become a order block here, and prices will likely just have a down wick to then keep going higher next week. So that's basically what I'm expecting to happen with US30. This is a more in-depth analysis on what I think is going to happen this week, and only time will tell. So I'll see you guys in the next video, and all right, so the next pair we're going to be going over is GBPJPY or GJ. So overall, what is price doing? From the daily time frame, like always, we mark up the daily high and daily low. Overall, we're in a bearish structure right now. So what you do want to keep in mind is this order block right here. I'm going to move this over. Like always, do the same thing. It's very repetitive what we do. Mark up the 50%. Mark up the 50%. Now we have this daily order block, and what is price doing? As you can see right now, price is bullish, had this downwards momentum, pushed up. It looks like we're coming to retrace this order block to possibly see higher prices, and this will also go with confluence with our US30 analysis, overall bullish, since they move very similar. Let me fix this. So while we're here, let's also pull the fib from this low to this high. I'm going to draw it from 3155, this whole number. We're going to take this 38 continuation level off, and now we can see, move this over, we can see where these levels are, and let's just make sure these are right where we want them, just to make them perfect. I like to have them exactly on it because it gives you the best basically area. You're trading with the banks at this point. And what do we see? We see confluence right here with the 50% and this fib, and we also have 152 and 152 500 and 153 whole numbers. So there's a lot of confluence in this area right here. So price could likely come lower to keep pushing up overall this week. I'm not going to be going into a deep analysis on this pair because I don't really trade it, so we're just going to overall go what I want to see this week happen. If you take a look on the weekly time frame, we had this downwards push, and now we're starting to reject. We rejected 151 500, and we're also holding above all these levels, and we have a strong uptrend. So overall, I think we're still going to keep this upwards momentum. And if you also look, another thing you want to keep in the back of your mind is price is keeping this overall downwards market structure. Why? Because we're making higher lows and lower highs right here. So we could likely see price trace to this order block right here, because there's also one right here. Do the same thing we do. We get the 50% from the high to the low. Then we mark up the 50% of this order block. You can take the fib off. So now we overall know that price could likely keep this downtrend. If it does come lower, price could retrace. We can get these upwards push to eventually possibly get out at levels right here, because if price is in this overall downtrend and wants to keep this structure, price could likely hold this level to possibly keep going lower. And when lower prices, it could come back to this order block, could end up just consolidating before pushing again, because you never know exactly what's going to happen. But you always want to keep that in the back of your mind. So prices that I want to see price come to, I want to see it come to 152 860 area for possible buys, and I also want to see 154 580. You want to watch this area to watch out to see if price will overall keep this downtrend. And then areas you want to look at, let's go to the lower time frame to look at any imbalances that price could likely target. And what do you see? You see that there's an imbalance right here also in confluence with these other levels. So it's a lot of confluence in these areas. That's why I told you guys, the higher the confluence, the more likely price will do what you're expecting it to do. Move these over. So now we have imbalances here. We have the 62% and we have a 153,000 whole number. And where's the next order block? Not the order block. The next imbalance is under here. And also here is in confluence with the 79%, the 152,500, and the 70.50. So these are a lot of confluences that we have in this area of this overall daily order block that price is already in this downtrend of falling to. So these are areas that you will really want to watch out for to get buys off of. I feel like price will likely come here and then reject pretty well, because after filling these imbalances, there isn't really much to fill besides all the way down here, and that's below these lows. But I honestly don't think price will reject it, because if you look at how price reacted to these levels, it came to it and it automatically started pushing, breaking highs. And then if you look on the lower time frame, what's happening, if you keep in mind that this is when market structure was broken from this overall downtrend. So break a structure. You want to see price travel down to an order block. Same thing with US30, but the reverse. If you look, same thing with US30. We're expecting, go to daily. We broke structure to come to this order block to then keep going lower. So it's almost the same thing, just in reverse. Price is overall breaking the downtrend market structure to then come into this order block to then reject. So that's what I'm expecting to happen. I think price will fall to this area. I don't think it'll come fill this order block fully. I think the 79 and the 50% of this order block will be very likely to reject off of. And that's really my analysis for basically for this pair, GJ. Nothing crazy, simple analysis. Overall, want to see price see higher prices this week after creating probably the low of the week on Tuesday or Monday. So that's really all. That's it. I'm gonna just go over these two pairs because these are the main pairs that I know a lot of people trade GJ, and it's a very easy pair to trade. Same thing with US30. That's the pair that I'm most confident in and I have the most experience in, and that's the trade that I strictly trade. So that's really it for this little breakdown. I'm not going to be going over any other pairs, because if you look at gold from the last week, it's basically still the same overall structure. We didn't really do much. We ranged throughout that week. So overall, I do want to see price, like I said, price could likely range in this area before traveling higher to these prices up here. But it's basically still the same markup from last week. So US30, NAS 100 is basically the same as US30. I want to see a retracement to see higher prices. GJ retracement, continue this retracement is already falling to see higher prices. And then Bitcoin's not looking good right now. So I'm not even going to really go deep into it, because as of right now, it's in a rock and a hard place, because the only levels on Bitcoin that have like a lot of significance are all the way down here around 20,000. And right now it's just ranging and making lows at the same time. So price could likely keep falling overall, but you never really know. So I'm just going to stay away from it. I don't want to give anyone bad analysis. So I'm going to stick to these pairs that I'm more confident in and have just cleaner structure. So that's really it for this video. Hopefully you guys can take advantage of these markups, and I'll see you guys next video.